Hey everybody, I'm Nick Griffin here, and welcome back to the Bundle for Racial Justice and Equality Let's Play. This is Mobius, a game about playing, about Mobius strips. It's a platformer, but if you know anything about a Mobius strip, you know that it is a 3D yet also 2D surface. So obviously this ring right now is two-dimensional. Sorry, I should say 2D yet 3D yet also infinite in length. And we'll get there as to why it works the way that it works. Oh god, this is breaking my brain a little bit. Can I... I'm trying to figure out if I can I rotate... it does not appear as though I can rotate this. So yeah, this is slightly breaking my brain. I have died. I have died again. We're going back to platformers. Which platformers... I'm not going to say that I'm notoriously bad at them, because I don't think I'm bad at them. I'm just not amazing at them. Dang it, I overjumped. There's like a little bit of momentum in this game. There's not a ton. These are the levels you're not supposed to die in, by the way. Like, they're supposed to be dangerous, but you're not supposed to actually die in them. I hit the ceiling. I think my arc was good if there wasn't a ceiling, but clearly there's a ceiling. So, my arc was bad. You have a decent bit of air control. It's not exceptional, though. Yay, I made it. I'm waiting for it to get Mobius. Okay, so we've got a key. Okay, you can restart a level by pressing R. Wonder why you would need to press R. I was a little worried about making that. Oh, that was close. It is messing with me that, like, left is right and right is left at the top. Okay. Like, I know that you're supposed to grab the key, but I felt like grabbing the coins would be a better play first, because clearly we need to go fast here. And I don't know if I would have been able to collect the coins and also go through there at a reasonable pace. Yeah, when you're up there, that's actually really hard. Click to bend? Okay, here... Oh, okay, here's the mouse. Here's the Mobius strip. So a Mobius strip is infinite because... Can I... So you can make your own Mobius strip because they're not hard to make. You just take a ring of paper, or you take a piece of paper, like just a, you know, long strip, the same kind that you could, you know, fold together. Oh gosh, trying to find the right mouse position is actually really difficult. That you could use to like make a what were they? The rings, the chains. Chain after chain, right? But instead, see, why would you bend here? Oh, right, because there are 22 coins. Where am I? Interesting. So we have to like investigate the strip. So, and just like it kind of happens here, instead of making that link in the chain, you okay, I think we do want to go to the right here. You rotate that paper, one of the ends of that strip, 180 degrees. And then you connect them together. Yeah, I know I can click to bend, but it feels like you don't want to click to bend until you have to. 'Cause you can't, it doesn't seem like you can control where the bending happens. I feel like something is off with the render. Oh, right, because I'm looking at the back, not the front. This can really warp your perception. Oh, so I'm actually trapped, I think. So I go to... Oh, no, because that's the door. The door doesn't actually block your movement. Oh, I almost didn't make that jump. So yeah, this is interesting. But it means that if you were to actually, on a Mobius strip, if you actually follow... oh my. Click to shrink. It's an interesting thing to add. The perspective alone is enough to kind of break your brain. But if you were to actually, if instead of having walls and obstacles, if instead of having walls and obstacles, it was just a straight shot, you could run forever, because eventually you would come back to where you started. Because the Mobius strip, the thing about it that makes it special is that by doing that thing that you've done, you've created a closed yet infinite loop. Oh, I see. Where am I? Where am I going? Okay, so I need to get to the key, which is, I don't know where. So when we shrink it, the key is disappearing. The perspective is the hardest part of this right now. Okay, I'm trapped here. when you choose to shrink and expand is important. Unfortunately, that's not like shown very well. I guess would be how I would describe it. Like, you have to keep track of what state. I don't understand. Wait, can I? No, because it looks like, wait, it looks like I'm not blocked if I go to the left. But I thought I ran into an obstacle last time I tried this, because I tried this in the exact same way. I guess not. This is tough. This is bending my brain a little bit, and it's also a little bit late. Okay, well, here's the... Oh, jeez. I am already dead. This is some okay music. When you jump... you slow down, even if you were running. Oh, I really hit the spikes there. Damn. It's gonna go into a, Okay, I can use my right hand, which is actually going to, I think, be better. I can use the arrow keys. Oh gosh. Wait, I hit the spikes on that? I call BS on that one. I thought I was fine there. The music gets better as you go, I think. It reminds me of We Are Number One a little bit. Oh, well, shit. No! I couldn't get on this. Okay, I'm glad they let me go back. I couldn't get onto that single platform with the way that it was moving. It was really hard to adjust. Oh my goodness. So we're gonna have to bring 2 keys. Oh, you're kidding. Hello, mouse. Okay. We do have to pick a direction. I've already chosen this one based on the door that I've already opened. That is definitely one way to soft lock yourself. Dang it. I realized I didn't have to backtrack. I realized I didn't have to backtrack. I like this path better. Just slightly. Just trying to middle out. I'm actually a little surprised I made that. Just trying to middle out the. Oh, right, I don't have to shrink. Or I don't have to do it like that. I can just shrink it. Oh my gosh. Perspective is the hardest part of this game. Which is, I think, unfortunately, a mark against it. Like, let's be honest here. Alright, I don't have to backtrack. The game is neat so far. I like it. We're what's blue coin? Okay, this is not a new mechanic. I hate you so much, game. Like, oh wow, I didn't actually know I could make it over that, and then suddenly I just fell through. Oh god, now you have to do this via shrinking. And I'm dead because I can't... I don't know. I can't see, so I need to check, I guess. I don't like this. Now, where am I? That was close. I didn't like that at all. Okay, so this is 2 Mobius strips. I presume that I'm going to be able to cross from one to the other somehow, though I don't know the mechanic just yet. So yeah, this is actually a very good example of a Mobius strip, because I'm running unimpeded, and I can do this forever. Because at a certain point, I come to where I started again. Oh, hey, look. It's connected right there. It's good to know. Oh my. As long as I don't have to do a timing thing. Am I coming up? There I am. Okay, I can shrink the other one. Now where am I? Okay, it doesn't look like there's anything lethal behind that curve. Now, where am I? Trapped. Okay, so I have to go back out. Where am I? There we are. I've definitely gotten better at figuring out at figuring out like how to pay. Oh no, another one of these. These are hard. Oh, hello. It said no coins, just survive, but there are coins. We can't avoid picking up. I do like this music. It's silly, but I like it. It said no coins, but I'm still picking up the coins. Why? I don't know. I think because I'm going to have to. I think if you didn't collect all the coins, it's just going to be like we lied. See, this, I like this. I do have some problems with the controls. Oh, fuck. I held back. I held back on the jump there. Ooh, I like this music. I just do. Like, this isn't something that you necessarily would listen to, like, in your car. But at the same time, like, maybe. It's kind of like Darude Sandstorm in that I like it. I think it's a neat song, but I don't really want to listen to it in other contexts other than I'm listening to Darude Sandstorm. Like, I don't know. Like there are times where the song just slaps and it's just like I want to listen to this like right the hell now. And then there are other times where it's just like, yeah, no, it's not. And unfortunately, more often than not, it's the let's not. I mean, I've gotten pretty good at this section. Oh my, that was close. Keep hitting those spikes. So this is where my problems with the controls are a little bit more worth discussing. Like, the controls in the puzzle part aren't great, but they are acceptable. Like, you can get used to them a lot. Like, when they added the blue coin timing in, that it started to be an issue. Most of those gave you ample time though, so I didn't feel as bad about it. But yeah, there's definitely an issue with the controls when you need to do stuff quickly and well, because there's a lot of lack of precision is kind of how I feel like I want to describe it. I don't think that's actually what I would say about it, but that's how I would describe it, because the precision isn't... Like, it's not like the controls are inherently imprecise or anything like that. But there's something about the way that they did the controls that causes you to not feel like you... It causes you to feel like you don't have control. And it's the jumping. I'm fairly certain it's the jumping, because the jumping slows you down in a way that is truly frustrating. Well, I missed a coin. I think the coins are just there to trick you, because the door was open and I missed a coin, so. And not the one that I went back to pick up. Was that winning? Wow, okay. So we finished the game. Wow. I did not expect that to be the end of the game for multiple reasons. The main one being, I swear I saw art on the page that involved that eye in an actual Mobius involved. Like, we kind of got this run the gauntlet thing, like we had there and at the middle. But I was expecting there to be one on a Mobius strip, which was going to be crazy obnoxious.
Thank you so much for
Oh.
playing my game. I hope you had fun.
I did. I had fun. And now I'm going to be critical of it, but only because I would love to see this done and better. I think the biggest problem I have with this game is not the concept, is not even necessarily all execution. But it is primarily in the execution that I have the problems, and that's because it's a platformer with kind of weak platforming. And that is... It's troublesome, but it's not the end of the world. Like, I still enjoyed the game. It's just the parts where you need to do something very fine are difficult. Like, there is a difference between running and walking in that you're holding shift, but like when you're jumping, it doesn't feel like there's a difference. It always feels like you like suddenly slow down and move the same speed, which once again isn't necessarily bad. It's just inconsistent with the way a lot of platformers do it. I'm actually going to go ahead and just launch it out to the title screen. I'm actually looking real fast at the art, and I'm just wrong. There's just a picture of the eye. It's not actually anywhere. Here we go. We can be on the title screen. So yeah, like that's the biggest problem that I have, and most of it because it's because most of it is a puzzler. That's okay. Like even those moments where you're trying to find where you are, or you're like really rotating around the Mobius strip, and like right is left and left is right, like those places are difficult for sure, but that's okay because you're not time crunched. And I think the parts where you were time crunched are purposely not as complicated. Even at the end, obviously the eye shooting lasers at you is a time crunch, and we weren't on a Mobius strip. We had 2 of those blue coin levels. Were there only 2? Maybe there was a third one, but either way, like the first one was obviously a very teaching experience. The second one was definitely more of a speed required sort of situation, which I think it worked out okay. Obviously we completed it. There was the one like jump back, grab coin, continue forward. That's probably where it hurts the most, that the jump is weird, because in most platformers you could jump and get back, which obviously in real life you can't do. That's just like an air control thing that video games invented, which is fine. They're allowed to do that. But that highlighted how clunky the system is in that moment, which is unfortunate, but it's kind of how it goes. The only other speed moment was when you had to run on the thing, on the blocks that were being unlocked behind you. But once again, that was a pretty simple platforming thing. So it's like the game knows its limitations are, or its platforming limitations, and doesn't burden you with them terribly. I think, save for that one jumping backwards blue coin, you're really not impeded by that system. It's just because it's inconsistent with how a lot of other platformers do it. You get that vibe that kind of just like interrupts it. Like, this feels weird, which is not necessarily the game's fault. If the rest of platformers did it that way, then this would feel perfectly normal. So it's just a what you're used to type thing. The camera is probably the camera is the thing that I think could be improved the most. And I say that because we're on a Mobius strip. Like, we are on a Mobius strip, and that makes sense. I mean, obviously, if you're not familiar with the Mobius strip, this game is super weird and you don't quite understand what's going on. But while you're on that Mobius strip and you're moving around, I do a lot of 3D work. Like, I do 3D modeling and stuff like that in my spare time. And doing those sort of things gives me a sense of how cameras move in three-dimensional space. When you're using your mouse and using different hotkeys to alter the way in which you move. Like, holding down one button causes you to rotate around your center point. Holding another one causes you to pan. This game obviously doesn't require panning or even zooming, but like, something about the way that the Mobius strip is moving in the camera is off. I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it is also partially because we have a lot of black on black contrast, so you don't actually get the edges of the Mobius strip throughout the entire bit that you're looking at it. So you have those moments where, because there's so much black, like there was the one time where I thought what I was looking at was in front of what, like, it was flipped around, which it wasn't. It was in the background, not the foreground, and so I thought that I was being blocked by something that I wasn't, and there was some weird stuff going on in there, and that is a perspective thing, and I think that's part of what Mobius is trying to do in terms of like showing you what a Mobius strip is and manipulating it. So I think that what needs to happen to make that less painful is making the edges of the strip more obvious, and maybe that's enough, but like also just kind of getting some tweaking in there for rotating 3D objects. Not having the contrast, excuse me. Not having the contrast, I think, is enough to throw off my opinion of how the camera's moving, because I'm just not quite sure sometimes. But maybe that's the goal. Maybe having that low contrast, not being able to tell what's in front and in back, is what the developer wanted. And if that's the case, then that's the case. That's a stylistic choice that they want to go for. But I think if they were trying to make that a little bit more clear, they could tweak it a little bit to make it a little bit more clear. The other part in terms of clarity is the expanding and the shrinking. Just not well marked. Like, the game is clearly aiming to be a puzzle game, kind of. Like, it's got platforming elements, but it's not really a platformer. It's kind of more of a puzzler, because you're being handed this thing that is a Mobius strip, which is a very abstract yet also practical concept. Like, we don't use Mobius strips for anything, at least that I'm aware of. I suppose there probably is. If you know, please leave a comment. I'm curious to know what a Mobius strip is practically used for. But it's really just a hypothetical object that could do stuff. It's just, it happens that you can make your own hypothetical object, like with a piece of paper. It's, as I said, it's a very weird object, which is, I think, why it, garnered a game, at the very least. But yeah, it's one of those things where, because we're exploring this strange concept, because if you've never heard of a Mobius strip, once again, this is going to be really freaking weird. But because we're trying to work with that concept, it kind of just leans itself towards a puzzler, because you're trying to figure out how this all interacts. And there are some of those puzzles, like the 2 Mobius strips and where you jump out and come back. Like, those things worked okay because the camera angle showed you what was happening. Like, it showed you, like, you jumped and you saw your head on the other strip, and that worked out okay. And you figured out you could make that transfer. That was a great introduction of a new mechanic, by the way. Great example. But the shrinking and expanding thing, it was really just trial and error. Like, there was the one level where we started in the tiny room, and depending on which half of the room you were in, you end up somewhere else. And that was clear. That was clear. That was very clear. However, some of the other ones, not so much. Like the time where we expanded and we were like trapped in a room, and I was like, okay, what's going on with this? So I shrunk it and I moved like a little bit, and then when I expanded it, I was in a different section. Like, yeah, you can figure that out, but it's not putting the control over the logic into the player's hands, because they're not puzzling, they're trialing and erroring, which is a valid method to solving puzzles, but it's generally not the goal, because the goal of a puzzle game is to give you mechanics and have you learn them with simple puzzles, and then make more complicated puzzles either by creating a natural extension for the logic that you've created with the puzzles, or by combining multiple interacting pieces of a puzzle. Those are the way that puzzle games tend to do things, tend to make things more complicated, more difficult, by giving you more things to think about that you have to try and coordinate in your head. So while it's not always the case, I think a good puzzle game generally is something that you can look at and you can figure it out by looking at it and then execute. Whereas like an action game is more about making a tactical decision, a decision in the moment. Like, you know, I'm doing something, oh shit, an enemy just showed up over there. Like, yes, maybe, and if you've played the game a lot, like, and you know what's coming, then it kind of almost becomes a puzzler. But in that moment, because you're making a tactical decision, you couldn't have planned ahead. And that's kind of how this comes off. Is you can't plan ahead the puzzle because you don't know where, when you open or close, or expand or shrink the strip, you don't know what's going to happen. And I think that's the difficulty that I have with that mechanic. I think it's a cool idea, and I don't have a great suggestion besides like maybe color coding bits of the strip. Because honestly, even looking back on it, I'm not entirely sure how some of that worked and like what was created and what wasn't, because things popped out of nowhere when you expanded the strip. That's not like an inherent thing that Mobius strips do. So it's something that they added as a mechanic, and I think it could be a little bit tweaked for that. I did like the boss fights, the quote-unquote boss fights. Obviously, those were very strong on puzzle or on platforming, not puzzling. The music was great. Like, it wasn't, you know, Beethoven's, you know, Ninth Symphony or whatever, right? But it was good. It was good, and it made the level more enjoyable for sure. I would definitely be curious to see if they could have taken that boss fight style and put it on a Mobius strip. I think that would have been like, the reason why I wasn't expecting the game to end is because that's what I was expecting. I was expecting either another set of levels and then the last boss fight being on the Mobius strip, or like that last boss fight to transition into the Mobius strip at the end. I was expecting one of those two things, and neither of them happened, which is why I was surprised that the game ended when it did. I'm curious what continue does, but I'm not. Oh, I think it's just going to, it's just going to do the credits. I can't click or anything to bend. Alright, so that is Mobius. I think it's an interesting game. I think it's I mean, I think it's worth messing with just to see. Obviously, it's not terribly long or terribly difficult, but it's a cool little exercise in messing with Mobius strips. And if you like Mobius strips, or you know somebody who has never messed with one before, maybe this would be a good game for them to spend 15 minutes to a half hour on. Or longer. I don't know. Maybe you can take up to 45 minutes on it. I mean, I think it would take the average person less time.
Thank you so much for playing my game.
You're welcome,
I hope
sir.
you had fun.
I did. But yeah, the main reason why I sit here and go, yeah, it could take more time is really because I think it'll take less time because I died on a lot of spikes that I shouldn't have died on. But hey, that is it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this one. I will see you tomorrow, probably with more fossil hunters. But until then, keep your gears turning.